Hi everyone, this is Kyria here from Smart Nation Digital Government Office. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We're still waiting for a few participants, so we'll be starting in a few minutes. Thank you. Hi everyone, this is Kyria here from Smart Nation Digital Government Office. I hope you can hear me. So thank you so much once again for joining us. So for today, on 8th of June, is still part of my Savvy Kaki series, Improving Life for Seniors with Smart Homes. This is actually part 2 of the Smart Home series by Lynn, who is a Principal Program Manager at Amazon Web Services. So before we begin the session, maybe I would like to introduce a few administrative details for you to take note. So firstly, this session will be recorded, okay? And then it will also be uploaded on the Smart Nation YouTube channel. So for those of you who want to rewatch today's talk, or even watch or catch up the first session that happened last week, you can also find the recording on our YouTube channel, our Smart Nation YouTube channel. Secondly, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them using the Q&A button. Yeah, we will either go through during the talk itself, or we can answer them at the end of the session. Yeah, please do not go off immediately at the end. So we really appreciate your feedback. Some of you did mention in some of our past webinars that you want to have to get to know more about smart homes, whether it's beneficial for yourself. So because of your good feedback, we have introduced this series. So do kindly let us know whether there's room for improvement. There are any topics that you wish for us to introduce as part of the seniors program. And lastly, to find out more about upcoming webinars for seniors, for working adults, you can find them or latest updates on our social media channels, on our Facebook, our Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, as well as our Smart Nation Ambassadors Telegram channel. Anyone can join them. So, and also if you have any questions, you can also email us at enquiries@smartnation.gov.sg. Yeah, so for those who are new to our Smart Nation Together channel, this is an online platform developed to actually introduce our community to everything related to technology, whether it's teaching you lifestyle apps like introduction to Facebook and TikTok, or teaching you some ways on how to adopt technology to improve your daily life or daily work life. Yep. So without further ado, let me stop my screen here and pass it on to Lynn, who is going to share more about smart homes, benefit of smart home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kyria, and sorry everyone if my voice sounds very hoarse because I'm not feeling so well. But I'm still very glad to be back here. I think last week I hosted in Australia when it was really cold, so I think I got a little bit of that maybe. So this time coming back to Singapore, it feels the warm actually feels kind of nice. So as Khairya mentioned, this is the second part of our 3-part webinar series. In the first one, we look at what is an overview of smart homes, right? What is a smart home? How they help us in everyday life, and we actually took a really cool tour with Alex Tell, who is a local Singaporean content creator on YouTube. I think we got a lot of exciting feedback from the audience last time on Alex, and I would like to say again that I think Alex set a very high bar and very aspiration for us all to set up our home as smart home. But again, do look at his smart home and his YouTube channels as an aspiration, right? You don't feel like you have to start to get your home to the smart level as Alex. And I'm sure that I think last time Alex mentioned as well, for those seniors who are very tech savvy, those who ask very, very technical questions last time, you can even ask him to troubleshoot when you do your DIY projects at home as well. But for this session today, I want to bring it back down to a more layman level, right? And I consider myself also a beginner in terms of setting smart homes. So what about us, right, who are less tech savvy, who are not like Alex, who are not having curtain running, who have everything automated at home? Where do we go from here, right? Or what do we do? I think the feedback that we got a lot from last time was that it feels like a forbidden fruit. I think one participant used that word. It looks really great, but there's nowhere to touch it. And so I think in this session, I want to make sure that we walk out feeling that there are things that we can do. There are easy things that we can quickly get to make our home smarter and more convenient. There's one feedback that I want to address right out of the bat, is that currently in the market, there's not yet any solution that is a straightforward plug and play and without any maintenance or tech issue. And to be honest, even for us in any office, right, technical issues we run into all the time, which are a nuisance at best and disruptive at worst. Right? So I would imagine it would be even more challenging for seniors at home when you run into some of these issues. So I figured, why don't we start the webinar today with a very funny skit from Comedy Central Saturday Night Live on smart home technology for seniors. That way it gets us on an equal footing ground and on a good start for the webinar today. Khairya, would you help me with the skit, please? We're not getting. Okay, go. Thank you. I always find this very hilarious every time I keep watching it a few times time and again. And there's a few more of those smart home funny skits out there online. So you do check them out if you have a chance. But that is just to start to say that there's always a lot of challenges actually, especially for seniors in using these smart home technologies. So for today, I want to specifically talk about how it improved life for you. So just give me 1 second to set up my screen. Oops. So yes, as I mentioned, the topic today was specifically talking about seniors and how the technology can improve life for you. First, let's look at the factors that are affecting the standard of living and their importance, right? As we all, as we build our home, right? We look at certain aspects, certain things that make us feel more comfortable in our own living space. I think communication probably stand at the first part of it, because it's not only communication together among ourselves, but also especially with our loved ones, like our children and grandchildren who may not live with us, right? So how do we keep that channel of communication continued and as pain-free as possible. The second is multimedia, so all the entertainment, like all the activities, the TV, the channels, of the music, all the things that make us feel like being part of society. The third one is comfort, how easy it is to navigate in our apartments, how easy it is to live comfortably in the temperature, the water, so on and so forth. And tied to that is energy efficiency. And I saw some of the comments, one comment just came in about about smart cities using more electricity. So I think it will be very interesting to address also how do we save at the same time as we expand, right? So how does that really actually make us live more efficiently as opposed to just expanding electricity? Most importantly, I think for seniors, there's a sense of security and accessibility, how easy it is to reach access to the convenience or the support in terms of everything actually in this aspect. So how does smart home address this aspect? I think will be very key in terms of improving the living standards for us. So when I look at the quality of life improvement based on smart home technology, I read back to these 4 buckets of security, communication, comfort and money, and health. And today, let's dive into each of these category in more detail. And we'll look at some of the gadget that can help us improve some of these aspects, right? First one is security. And if you remember last time, Alex had a very complex lock, right? Security, I think in Singapore for us is a little bit less of an importance because we are very, very fortunate to live in a society that in an environment that is very safe. That said, when we look at how the doors and window contacts, all the motion detectors, the surveillance cameras, so on and so forth, how they continue to give us a sense of security around our place, is important to look at how some of the technologies can help detect and give that sense of security to us. So out there are technologies that can inform us if someone tampers with the windows or door. Even a slight opening of these windows or doors will trigger some alarm. And there are also sensors to notify when disaster happens, like fire, right? You can check whether people have not arrived home. And this is particularly important for, let's say, for your children who don't live with you to have that access so that they are aware of your whereabouts, so they can either ensure and check in occasionally with you, right? And last, they can also check whether if you have left the bed or been elsewhere in the family. So last time, if you remember, like everyone had forget the lock every now and then. And Smart Lock has made it easy to check the status of doors. And you can unlock them remotely if need be. A Smart Lock is also very helpful if you're worried about someone who start to wander, right? So if your kids don't live with you and don't know if you are in the apartment or not, they can make sure that the house is properly locked up at night or even at any time during the day. This is also very important. And I think there was a feedback on this last time, that how to help people with disability or movability issues. A smart lock is also very useful if, let's say, you cannot move around easily and you want to let your children or someone in, right? So you can do that from the bed or from anywhere at home as well. So if you remember last time, Alex had a bit of a fancy version in the back, on the left here, which he can control via remote, via his mobile device. It can also trigger light to turn on when the door opens, right? So it's actually really cool. But on the right here, the Wise Lock is a more practical version of that. It's not the most advanced smart lock out there, but it's the easiest to set up and use. And it's probably one of the cheapest. I think right now it's retail for about 120, I think, on Amazon. So it's very convenient because it attaches directly to an existing deadbolt, and it adds only a modest housing to the internal side of the door. So you can easily look at it and it acts the same. So you can easily continue using the key as usual, but its built-in smarts allow you to lock and unlock the door remotely, and you can choose to receive a smartphone alert whenever the door is accessed or left open. Right? And so if you ever forget or misplace the key, you can also use the same technology to unlock the door for them. So this is a very simple version of a smart lock that allows you to just quickly add on to what's existing out there, right? And use there. Another version is a smart contact sensor, which, for especially a patient of Alzheimer, it's very important to have this kind of guarantee or sense of security to avoid the risk of them wandering away from home, right? So contact sensors like these, so you see like the two side, the attachment on the door can be easily attached on to any door. And it will alert you when the doors or windows are safely shut or have been opened or have been left open for too long. Right? So when the sensor are attached to the front of the back doors, you'll know when someone is coming in and going, and you can put them on windows so that you can receive an alert if someone forget to close the living room and window before bed, for example, or put one on the refrigerator door so that you know that it's already been open or properly shut, right? So there's a lot of people with Alzheimer issues find this very particularly useful, and it's super easy to install, right? Basically, it's just sticking onto the door, onto side of the door, and it address many of the concerns that others have. They cannot. The fancy ones would be too fancy or too technical intensive for you to use. So that's the first one in terms of security. Sorry. Now we're going into the second part, which is communication. And I don't know about you, but during COVID, it was actually a very difficult time for me in particular. And my family is actually in Vietnam, so having a hub with touch screen and camera that allow us to easily communicate was also a very important thing. So in the market, there's a lot of products like these smart screens that make keeping in touch easier and more personal than a simple phone call. This device would connect to the home's Wi-Fi network and allowing for video and voice calls to family, friends, or telemedicine appointments, emergency services, and many more. Right? They also have a voice control, which allow the user to call up those contacts, and as well as news, weather, trivia, voice commands, so on and so forth. I think I would recommend adding one of these screens because it can really serve as a hub for other smart home device, but you make it very easy for you to communicate. And for me, especially when I look at the one that we have here, if you can see, I think the blur function makes it a little bit difficult to see. Here, I can put it there. So this one is actually very convenient because when I call my parents, for example, I would just leave it on the base, and the camera would literally follow me. Even if I'm on the couch, I go along, it would follow me and adjust the screen accordingly. So my parents can always capture me, even they can see me even if I'm here or anywhere, right? I think that's probably the most convenient one. During the day when I don't have calls on it, I also turn it into a photo frame that would just replay many photos. And if you have a Google photo account, it will just play directly from that account. So that is a great way for you to look back at photos with your loved ones on a regular basis, right? And sometimes you will see some photos from some very random times a long time ago that you suddenly you forgot a long time ago. I think is a fantastic one. So this this is the Google set that we use. We use this hub on the right here, the Google Nest hub. We also have a few of these of the Nest Audio, which is the one like right next to the left of the screen, and they can all be directed. They can be connected with other devices. Right? So, for example, I can ask them, "Hey Google, turn on all lights." Let me turn on the, hey Google, set volume 8. Hey Google, turn off all lights.
Got it. Turning off 2 lights.
So for example, that's the case. We have lights attached, connected to this device. And normally we would set for it to come up at a certain time, but also it will, in case we forget or want to turn on and off different time of the day, it can be used as well. So the best part about this Google, I think, or this hub is actually, it's not expensive. In fact, I think we got this from Carousel for $200, and it's been doing really well in terms of adding more. And in the next session, we'll go into details in how to start in a modular way or more incremental way of setting up your smart home. But this would be what I recommend to be the first item that you would buy for your smart home, which is the hub. In the market, there's also others, for example, like this Amazon Echo Show, which is a smart speaker in itself with built-in screen and camera, and like a similar product of it, like a Dot, which is an excellent tool for accessing media and news. I can also tell it right now to play some music, if it's and it's linked to the Spotify account, for example. I especially like it because it also happens to be a great communication tool, right? As I mentioned, really great to use that for phone calls, and it allows a streamlined way for family members and even your caregivers, right, to drop in for a two-way video chat, right? So at any time. You can also use Alexa on the Echo Show, which is linked to Alexa, this device, to schedule reminders about appointments or medication doses, watch videos about cooking, or view closed captioning when available. So we have one screen that right next to the kitchen. So when I say start recipe, it will start this particular recipe step by step, so I can cook through. And I don't know if you, but we did a lot of cooking during COVID, and this has been fantastic in terms of helping us exploring recipes that we never know before, right? I think for us also important to set reminders, and especially for us if we easily forget how things are done. The time, or forget our own appointments. So I can easily say, hey Google, set an alarm at 8 p.m. for taking medicine.
Done. Your alarm call for taking medicine is set for 8 p.m.
There you go. So then it can, at 8 p.m., it will trigger an alert and let me know that it's time to take medicine, which tonight I do need to take my cold medicine. So I think this hub is a fantastic way for you to start with smart home. And I think, me being at Amazon, I think one of the features that I'm particularly proud, and we especially proud at Amazon, is the show and tell feature, which can help blind and low vision users to identify grocery items. What they do is basically simply holding up the grocery in front of the camera, and the camera would be able to tell you that you're holding watermelon, or well, more like something that that you cannot tell. Obviously, when you hold a watermelon, you should be able to tell it's a watermelon already. But for others, smaller fruits, or when you hold in the bag, it's easier to identify those as well. So it's really a great one for people with low vision. Next item, I think, is also very important, especially for seniors, which is healthcare. I would start definitely with a wearable device. So in general, there's a lot of items that are more and more available to set up your home as a telehealthcare facility. You don't need to go to the hospital every time there's something happen, right? For example, the hub was also a great way for you to connect with your nurse or your doctors, but or your telehealth services. But individual with dementia, with chronic pain and mobility difficulties can also now stay independent at homes, right? And adapt that to their exact needs. I mentioned the telehealth with voice assistant, and the wearable device, which is like this Apple's smartwatch, is a very, very important device. For me, it's sorry, I don't have my watch today. It's charging in the bedroom right now, but I wear it extensively every day, and I've had to say that it has been the most my best purchase this year so far. First is that it it monitors your mobility, it monitor your health, your ESG, and all of the metrics, the health metrics. Earlier this year, after COVID, I needed to lose a little bit of weight, and in the past few months, having the watch to control how many calories I spent every day has been one of the best way for me to lose weight. I think I've lost about 5+ kg in the past 3 months, which I thought was fantastic, and thanks to the smartwatch. But I think for seniors especially is a very important device. Not only it measures your ESG, and you will quickly look at other health metrics, but the most important feature for me is the built-in fall detection, right? Which available on Series 4 or later. It's the button that it's the feature that can detect if you fall and trigger a call to your emergency contacts. So it will also definitely call the hospital, but it also alert your contacts in case of emergency. So let's say, so I've got a friend who actually his parents fell, and the watch managed to call the hospital and provide a real-time location, so that when it trigger a call to him, there's a son, he know that his father has already been picked up by the emergency service, and he can just follow the emergency, the ambulance, as opposed to going to the location where his father fell. I thought that is very, very important, and I've been trying to convince my parents to wear the same watch. So if you find this, if you find a way, if you find this convincing, and you can help me convince my parents, then by all means, please share our best part for me to convince my parents to wear the watch. The watch itself can also share medical information like your blood type and medications. And as I mentioned, your ESG stats with emergency responders. Even works with apps like Fall Call, which can trigger a central monitoring station via Siri voice command on the watch as well. So these kind of wearable device, I think, is very important to have. It's pricing around $400 or $500. So another alternative that is cheaper is this Alexa Echo Dot, which for those who stay home most of the time, like in the case of seniors with less mobility, I think it's also very useful to have. So with this, the Dot, which is this speaker, basically, it runs on a Alexa voice control platform, which allows anyone to control by merely making a verbal comment. So you can say, Alexa, call our son, or call Rachel, call whoever in the list. It can't travel, obviously, but it does provide two ways to put seniors in touch with emergency contacts, such as family, friends, and caregivers. And it can be paired with some of the fall detection third-party sensors like VIA or like Sky Angel Care, or remote assist, which provide also similar functions like the watch. But obviously, it has the limitation, which is that it cannot travel, right? So I think as we reach to a certain age, it's very important to have this ability to take care of our health, especially in this way. And the more mobile we are, the more important to make sure that your mobility is supported, right, by that. The next category that we're looking at is comfort and money saving, right? Some of the apps that we have out there is as you see, a thermostat that can switch off or on when no one is in the house, or uses energy efficient technology to cool down when residents return. It can also analyze users' habit and adapt accordingly. And setting can be customized depending on what room is being used and what time of the day. For us, we use something very similar, which is this Broadlink RM4 mini smart home automation Wi-Fi. And sorry, what it is basically is a Wi-Fi is a wireless control enabled remote control. It's literally a remote control, but the best part is that it can be linked to the smart devices like the hub that I showed you earlier, right? So it really does, it can control a lot. And the best part is it's only $19.39 on Shopee. So it's very, very easy and cheap to buy. This product is a revolutionary, and I really mean it that way, a smart intelligent appliance control. The first good intelligent remote control, and it can control your air condition, your television, your set-top boxes, and other appliances that can be easily controlled, right? It's designed to get you more control and performs better. It enables your smart home anywhere you are. You can control with your apps, and literally anywhere. You can make sure that your AC is on before at a certain time during the day, or when I need to control it. Let's say, hey Google, set temperature to 25 degrees.
Okay, setting AC to 25 degrees.
So through the hub, it allows me to set the temperature to the exact temperature that I need. Right? Something like this is super easy to use, easy to integrate with the system, and very, very cheap. So you don't need to go far. You don't need to go like super high tech, but something like this can get your can get you up and started very quickly. Right? And I think this is where this is where it doesn't need to be expensive, but it definitely can get you a lot of bang for your buck. Another appliance that we like a lot is this the Robo Vacuum. And I don't know how many of you are OCD just as I am, but I like my home to be clean of a certain very clean all the time. So to have the robots running around and vacuum and even mop the floor is very, very useful, especially when the robots, so like the Xiaomi Robo Vacuum Roborock X7. It can also, it's so smart that when it reaches area with a carpet, it knows to pick up the carpet, to pick up the mop and only vacuum. And then when it goes back into the areas with only tiles, then the mop will lower and start mopping as well, right? So these devices are super simple. And I think right now in the market, there's a lot of options in terms of robo vacuum, from very, very cheap to very expensive. So you have a lot of options out there. There's also smart washing machines, which can send notification when the laundry is ready to dry. The smart refrigerator with internal cameras provide you an overview of the content, and smart coffee makers that automatically make coffee when you get out of bed or come home. For seniors, I think one important thing is lighting. And a dark house can be scary for anyone, right? But it would be even more scary and more dangerous for seniors, where any wrong movement can lead to a fall, which especially if you're like my parents, who would have to get up 2 times a night and navigate down to the bathroom, right? Not having the ability to see clearly can easily bumping into very dangerous places or fall. So smart lighting in the form of in-wall switches or dimmer and LED bulbs can allow you to put lighting on schedule, or have the lights triggered by movements for other device, or simply turn lights on and off as needed using a smartphone. I have to say that smart lighting is very safe, hands-free, and can be automated and increase safety and independence. And it's really a huge technology. Out there's a lot of technology that can allow you to integrate with sensors, with halfway lights, for many that motion detected. For me, I love this HM motion sensor LED light, which has a 120-degree detection night lamp, and it can with on-off switch, magnetic base, USB rechargeable. It's only $5.79 on Shopee, $5.79, and it's super easy, and it's as small as this. This is small as this, and so this is not the best demo because here is but basically you can charge. Let's say you have a long hallway, right? You can set up a few like the 3M stickers along the way, and just stick the light on. So during the night when you just walk by, the motion would trigger the light to light up, and every 2-3 days or so, you just take it off and recharge using a USB rechargeable, and that's it. Then you can, and then I think it takes like an hour to charge or less, and then you just stick back on the wall on your way back, right? So super easy to use, super cheap, and really make a difference, right? You don't need a system that has to be super smart, but I think this is smart enough and practical so that it directly speak to your needs and speak to what you can afford, right? You start to wonder like how some of these save you money, right? And especially in the context where we are spending a lot of money to charge these devices, to power, and for example, even like these devices to plug them in all the time. How does it save you money? I guess we need to look from a perspective, that a broader perspective, like a macro perspective, because data from electricity and heating can be recorded, then displayed on the interface, and consumption is analyzed. And if you look at a three level of smart home, from the meter level to the home level or to the grid level. At any point, at any level, the data that you've used always can be collected and therefore can be used to optimize data. At the meter level, when to turn on or when to turn off. At the home level, what is the level of temperature that is needed for you to keep the AC on? And at the grid level, how much electricity is needed, or what is the peak level, so on and so forth, right? So they can adjust the distribution system accordingly, right? So then they can optimize and they can lower the cost of electricity or water for you. These days, PUB has a smart meter program where you can sign up to get a smart meter, and the meter would capture your meter readings directly and in real time, and you can use that and it can use an app to check your water data on this My Smart Water Meter app, which can be accessed either online or on your tablet or phone or laptop. And based on the data, you can look and see if there is any anomaly in terms of water usage, for example. And that's a great way to detect if leaks happen, and or start working into and looking at your water usage and see if if there are room to optimize. There are ways to improve your water usage as well. Recently, I was at a water conference where smart meter is attached to even a smart faucet, where the regular faucet would, when you turn off your faucet, usually there's some water left there, and over time this creates some inefficient use of water. And so the new faucet even allow you to optimize that and allow to reduce that water left in the faucet as much as possible, right? So there's a lot of ways that you can start immediately making your home smarter and save water and money or electricity with these devices. So you don't need to really let's not think of it as a mountain that you cannot climb, but you can easily start with an ABC 1, 2, 3 of smart home and go from there. In the next session, we would go into more details in what are the first steps to start your home smart, as well as some of the security concerns that people often have about smart home. So stay tuned. But now I'm open for any questions that you may have. So I see some of the questions that are already come on. So let me address them one by one. How does Amazon Alexa compare with other voice assistants like Google Assistant? What are the pros and cons? Wow, that's a long. I think all of the device out there are actually quite comparable in terms of ability. It depends on if you look at the top of the line out there, Alexa versus Google, I think they're actually quite comparable. It depends on which one, probably which system, right? What kind of users you are, right? As well. Some of the people have a whole Google set, and just because you have your Google account, it's just easier for you to use Google as well. Some people really believe in Alexa, and for me, as an Amazon employee, let me refrain from saying that I think that Alexa is the best in the market, but I think it does have a lot of functions that others don't. So I think that if you already choose the top of the line, like those products, I think they're comparable. It's the matter of whether you want to, as a beginner, do you want to go into other products as well? And I think my advice would be to stick to some of the more developed one, so that it's easier to navigate in the market, right? Another questions. Any device to close window automatically when it rains? Actually, I'm not aware of, I haven't seen a window that automatically close, but I would imagine if the railing has an it can be attached to an automatic railing, then it can be done easily. I would need a little bit more research on that, but it's a very interesting question. I would imagine if our door can be automatically closed, then our windows can do the same as well, right? And a cigarette smoke sensor. I think we can use. I've seen some of the fire detecting sensor, and now that they are more and more, excuse me, more and more, what is the right word? Delicate or more sensitive in the market. I think they can definitely sense cigarette smoke as well. Obviously, this is actually when you're talking about the scenario when someone stand around and smoke, right? But if you're just trying to catch your husband smoking, then you may need to do a lot more than installing a sensor, because if he wants to smoke behind your back, he'll just smoke behind your back. Okay, sorry, I just joke there, but I hope we get the sense. As the smart device is on standby mode all the time, is it correct to say the electricity bill will increase as a result? To be honest, I haven't seen my bill increase. In fact, I think that my bill went down as in the past 2.5 years, I live in this apartment, and we started growing more of these devices. Our bills actually went down, and obviously there is also a trigger. I was going to say that also right now in the Singapore market, you also have different electricity provider that allow you to save money on that as well, right? So that's beside the topic, but from my observation, to be honest, I haven't seen the electricity bill going up. So maybe, as I mentioned, the automation has been really good, right? It allows us to set the AC, for example, to keep the room at a certain temperature, and after a certain time or at a certain temperature, it can switch off, right? It retains the cool air within the home, so that it doesn't have to turn on again, right? So some of these automation can really help you save money accordingly, right? Another question. How clean in percent is it if we use a vacuum cleaner robots? That is a very interesting question. I don't know. I don't know if I can tell you an exact percentage, but I have to say that my feet are very, very sensitive to any particles or dusts, and I am very, very happy with this. And we have a helper that comes once a week, and we run the robot once or twice, mostly just one times, and it managed to stay clean. So consider that a very high endorsement from my end. We are almost out of time, so let me address the last question. Many Singaporeans are going into new homes with Smart Nation work, with HDB2 guide or new home setting up, or HDB home automatically install some other common smart home appliances. Well, I guess that's more of a comment than a question. But I remember there was last time there was a question of where in Singapore can we go explore and try on some of these smart home devices, and I will try to compile a list of places, and mostly it's showrooms that are connected with brands like Akara has one. I think Cisco also has one, but don't feel obliged to buy their products. I think you can. Obviously, they also have a full-on consultation service for you to explore, to help design and set up the home smart home at home. But don't feel that you need to use all of their products, but you can also use others and mix and match accordingly. All right. So that's for next time. And for today, I think that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us today. And again, please don't forget to give us feedback on today's sessions. I really hope that I will feel much better next time in order to give you a more energetic presentation next time. All right. Next time, one-on-one, 1, 2, 3 of smart homes. So thank you very much, and see you next time. All right. Bye-bye. Over back to you, Khairia.
Yes, thank you so much, Lynn, for conducting this talk, even though you're done with COVID. So I hope it's an insightful webinar for many. So if you're interested to know more about smart homes, we have the last run happening next Wednesday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. as well, in terms of how you can make the first step, or what are some of the considerations you might want to consider before taking your first step to owning a smart home. Thank you so much, everyone.